So the other day I was browsing Pinterest for some new art inspiration. I wasn't sure what I was looking for, but I knew I had to find something that was new, fresh, and dope. For a good 20 minutes, nothing caught my eye. Until it hit me. I knew what I wanted to do. But before we get started, I need to grab a snack, my speakers for some fire music, and of course my iPad Pro. Today, we're going to learn how to create symmetry art in Procreate. So sit back, grab your iPad, follow along, take some notes, because this one is going to be good. All right, first we're going to start off with an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. To get the symmetry tool activated, you want to go to the wrench on the far left-hand corner. Then you'll see an option that says drawing guide. I'm going to turn that on. And by default, Procreate puts down a 2D grid. We want to change that. So you want to go to Edit Drawing Guide. And then on the far right side, out of the 4 options, you want to click Symmetry. What that does is create an implied line that you can mirror your design on either side. So once you do that, I'm going to press done. Now we have this implied line down in the middle, and you may not be able to see it on my screen because the line is pretty faint, but I'm pretty sure if you follow those steps, you will see a line down the middle of your artboard. Next, you want to go to your layers. Then you'll see something that says assisted underneath your layer. And if you press your layer, it just tells us that the drawing assist is activated. So let me show you an example. So I'm going to take a sketch pen, the 6B pen. When I start drawing on one side, the other side is activated. So the left-hand side is active. So that tells us that our symmetry tool is on and it's working. Now, if I do not have the assist on, it's only going to work on the side that you're working on currently, if that makes sense. So I'm going to show you. See, I'm going to work on the right side, and only the right side is active. If I turn it back on, both sides are now active. So remember, whenever you're using this technique, make sure that your draw assist is always on for every layer that you're using it for. So now that we kind of understand the basis of the symmetry technique, we have our 8.5 by 11, our implied line. We understand what the draw assist is. We're going to take a demo or an image that I've made using the same technique and emulate this design within our demo today. First thing we're going to do, we can use the basic layer we have already. I'm going to put this down right here, and just going to sketch. All right, here's a quick pro tip. If you feel like your illustration is kind of big and is kind of going off the paper, you want to then scale it down just a little bit, but be sure to bring your image back to the middle of the screen. Procreate does a great job of snapping the design back into the middle. You can kind of see this amber or orange line that lets you know like this image is where it needs to be. The sketch is pretty much done. It looks kind of crazy, of course, because it's a sketch. Nothing really makes sense right now. But once I start adding my outlines, everything will come together. So next we want to go ahead and add a new layer. And like I said before, be sure to turn on your draw assist for every new layer you create, because if you don't, the symmetry design will not work. I've had a lot of people ask me, what outline brush do you use? I use this brush called the Sushi Outliner. It was given to me by a friend a couple of years ago, and I don't know where he got it from. So I'm not going to use that for the sake of this demo. I'm going to stick with the default ink brushes that Procreate has for you all. So I'm going to just stick with the studio brush, or I would say my second best is the syrup brush, because they both have tapered ends and you can change the line weights as you draw. So let's try the studio brush. So pretty much our outline is done. I added some implied lines as I was creating the outline, just kind of playing around and see what looks good. Like I said, you can always experiment as you go. Now we're just gonna turn off our drawing layer, and this is what we have left, our outline layer. It looks pretty good. If you wanna go in and add some, darker areas, darken some spots up like right here, add some dark shadows or whatever you want to do, you can. It's up to you. It's not mandatory at all. You can kind of feel that out as you're going. All right, so now that we got our outline going, I think it's time we add some color. All right, so now that we have everything outlined, we want to go in and of course, create another layer and make sure we have our assist on so it'll work properly. Also, what we're going to do is we're going to take this second layer and we're going to make it a reference layer. So we'll put this reference layer on top, and then we're going to focus only on the layer below it. The reference layer is going to help guide the colors between the lines, so we don't have to worry about the whole screen turning a certain color. So we're going to take this green just to start and see what happens. See, so even though we're on this layer, this reference layer is controlling where the color goes. And if you notice, some of your colors are kind of bleeding in to the wrong places, like right here. That means your lines are not connected. So if I zoom in really close, you see there's a gap in between. What we want to do is make sure that all of our lines are connected so the colors don't bleed through. So I'm going to go back to my reference layer. I'm going to go back to black. And I'm just going to connect this line. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to go back to my color layer. I'm going to drop this color in there and see if it works. All right, we got rid of this, but that means there's a line that's not connected here. So I have to go back one more time. And I got to go ahead and connect this line. So that line wasn't connected. All right, try it one more time. Boom. So now we see that our line is closed. We don't have to deal with that color bleed anymore. So that's kind of how you troubleshoot that. So make sure when you're drawing your lines, that your lines are closed and all connected. All right, cool. So now I have some colors laid out. I'm not too sure if I'm sold on this colorway. So what I would do is I would go to the wrench tool. And actually, no, sorry. We're gonna go to the magic wand tool, and we're gonna go to the first option, hue, saturation, and brightness. And down on the left-hand side, we have this hue bar that can literally just change colors as you go. Like, I'm kind of digging this purple and green. You know, this blue and green is pretty cool too, but I like that. That's kind of our original color. So I'm gonna stick with this color right here. It's nice tones, nice colorway. We're gonna go all the way to the left-hand side and just stick with this. All right, so we're gonna add some shading to this. So what we're gonna do is gonna create a new layer, put a clipping mask, and also turn on Draw Assist. Next, we're gonna take the same layer and put it on multiply instead of normal. And we're gonna bump that down to about 30%. All right, I think that's enough shading for right now. Next, let's add some highlights. What we're gonna do, you wanna hit your plus, of course, then you wanna do your Draw Assist, clipping mask, you have your white, and then you want to go to overlay. I prefer to use overlay for my highlights, but you can try any type of blend option to get the best highlight you want. So I'm just gonna stick with overlay. All right, so I don't want to go too crazy with the highlights. So we're almost finished. I'm gonna actually add another layer. You don't have to do this on top. And I kind of add like a little bit of specks here and there. Like for instance, put my Draw Assist on. You know, like the little glare in the eyes. Sometimes I'm gonna throw in some white here. You know, just to give it a little bit more flair. All right, so we're almost finished. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take this layer and we're gonna duplicate it. It's a little technique I like to do. You don't have to do this, of course, but I love to do this. It makes it give it some real depth. I'm gonna take this layer and then I'm going to Gaussian Blur it. So it kind of gives it this murky glow. And you may not be able to see it on camera, but it's very much so present on my screen. And if you are trying this technique, you can tell. It's really, really cool. We're gonna go ahead and make this whole thing black. Well, not black, let's just say dark gray. And I love using this technique. I'm gonna pick a color off of just the image. And then I'm gonna go to the luminous option, and this brush called the Nimbus has like this galaxy design I always put in my artwork, majority of my artwork. There we go. So now it has like this galaxy look that I think is really, really cool. And sometimes I change the color midway just to give it a little bit more balance. I have my own logo brush and it's gonna stamp my work. Scale it up a little bit. And there you have it. So the goal was to kind of help you all understand what the Symmetry tool can do for you as designers or creatives, and just being free and open to any type of interpretation. If this seems to be too complex, I will create another video with simpler design. But this is the first of many videos using this tool. So if you are super interested and you like what you see, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We do more stuff like this all the time. We meaning me and only me. Also, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. But you know, this is a great opportunity to kind of show you guys what Procreate can do for you. And hopefully you learned something today. I will also have a tutorial on how to create your own logo stamp brush. So stay tuned for that. But that's for another day, another video. But till next time, y'all. Peace.
Watch out, 'cause I know the break's coming.
Just going through the motions.